Hi, it's Angela here, and I'm back again in the next video in our series all about menopause. And this is the second video in the Managing Symptoms Naturally videos. So the first video I covered off hot flushing, night sweats, and insomnia. Now I'm going to go on and cover off a couple of more common symptoms that come up for women when they're in this perimenopause and menopause stage of life. So many women report that their memory isn't quite what it used to be once they get to this stage of life. And that can be for many different reasons. Now, poor sleep, which we've already spoken about in the previous video, can be a contributor, and so can high levels of stress. But also you've got to remember that as you get older, you've got more things to remember. So it's okay to forget things, but I do know that some women, as they start to age, might start to worry about things like Alzheimer's, particularly if they have a parent who has Alzheimer's, because it's very, very scary as a carer to watch your parent go through something like that. And there can be a genetic tendency for this condition to travel down the family line. So this can be a concern when women start to think that they're losing their memory. So there's a few things that we can do. Looking after yourself and eating well obviously is the first thing. But let's look at some of the things that we can do if you think that your memory is not as good as it should be. Firstly, getting a good night's sleep. And I spoke a lot more about sleep in the first video. There's so many things you can do, and I'm going to actually do a video very shortly all about sleep. It's going to be a lot longer because there's so much stuff I can share on sleep, and I think it's one of the things that we as a society just don't get enough of it. So get a good night's sleep. Look at where you can reduce stress in your life and be less busy, because when you've got so much going on, it's quite typical that you might actually forget stuff because you're just too busy. If you do happen to smoke, just please give it up. It's not good for your brain. The nicotine reduces the flow of blood to your brain, but it's not good for your health anyway. And so find someone to help you give up. And if you're a little bit stuck on that, let me know and I will see if I can refer you to someone. Journaling is always really good to help clear some of the cluttery thoughts that are in your mind. And there's lots of research around how we have something like 60,000 different thoughts a day, but of those 60,000, 90% of those thoughts were the same thoughts that we had the day before and the day before and the day before. Then we have the same thoughts being tracked around our brain over and over again, and it's why it just gets cluttered. So journaling and meditation can actually help some of that. Also, try using memory joggers or notebooks, to-do lists, things that will remind you. You know, if you get on your phone, put a note, put an alarm that reminds you, I've got to do this, I've got to be here. Have a to-do list. There's some great tools out there. I love using Trello. That's a good tool. Asana is another good tool. If you want to do it online, there's plenty of tools out there that can give you your to-do list and tell you what you need to do. Now, when it comes to herbal treatments and herbs that actually help the memory, there's two really good ones, and they work well together. You just have to remember to take them, and that can be a problem. But it's ginkgo. So ginkgo is one of them, and bacopa is the other. Two fantastic herbs that are great for the brain. And once you start taking them, it can take about 2 weeks for them to take effect, but once they take effect, you will just feel so clear-headed. Now, there's also things that you use like essential oils. Rosemary is really good for memory. So having essential oils being diffused or using as a like a perfume. You can use rosemary as a herb as well, so put that into your cooking. So there's a few things that you can do to get clearer brain. And when it comes to nutrients, things like fish oils, so essential fatty acids, which are your fish oils, and there are essential fatty acids in some of the nuts and seeds as well. So chia seeds have got them in them, quinoa as well. So having good essential fatty acids, great for the brain. Magnesium, great for the brain. Calcium, great for the brain. Also making sure that you're eating enough protein and healthy fats in your diet. Drinking lots of filtered water. We need to actually, the brain is 90% water, so you need to be putting lots of water in to keep the brain functioning properly. Also having a diet which is full of veggies and, as I said, proteins and fats will also help. And just avoiding all the inflammatory foods such as sugar, wheat, dairy and things like that, and all your processed foods. Now, another condition that can go along with memory problems is depression and anxiety. And a lot of women start to experience this as they get to this stage of life because they've lived a life full of way too much stress. They're not getting enough sleep. And then on top of that, there's the shift in hormones. And some women, and I've had conversations with women where, you know, they get to 45, 50 and they're questioning what the rest of their life is going to be like. You know, they've got to a stage where now they're ready to look after themselves or, you know, or put themselves first and follow their passion, but they're not sure how to do that. And some women feel stuck. They feel stuck in relationships. They feel stuck in a life that they're not happy with. And that can lead to feelings of depression. It's also very common for women to wake up in the middle of the night with a sense of doom, and their heart is beating through their chest, and basically it feels like a pressing sense of doom or anxiety. This happens a lot, and it can be related to a sudden drop in blood sugar levels. And also, otherwise it can be associated with too much cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So there's an imbalance there going on between the blood sugar hormones and the stress hormones, and that can actually give you a waking feeling like your anxiety. But there are a few things you can do to reduce all of that if you've experienced it. Number one is start to address the emotional triggers that you've got going on. In our society, it's a very ageist society, so women aren't necessarily revered or valued as they get older. You know, we look at a lot of the stuff that goes on TV and the advertising that's put out is like always wanting to look younger, be younger. So women can struggle at this stage of life. And if you're not prepared for menopause and perimenopause, it can actually have a really significant impact on how you deal with what's going on, particularly the emotional side of stuff. So for me, what I use is the Lifeline technique because it's been my lifesaver. I love the Lifeline technique, and I use it. I offer the Lifeline to other women as well, just to help them get through this stage, to get to the underlying belief systems that all of a sudden start to come up, to heal some wounds that have been caused earlier in life that have just been buried, and they do often come up at this time of life. So Lifeline for me is it's a gem of a thing to do, and it's I love it. Also, finding a group of women who can offer you support and understanding about what you're going through. So finding other women who are just like you, and not necessarily, you don't want to be saved. And one of the things as women is we quite often want to save people or help them. But in fact, what women need is they just need someone to listen to them, someone to understand them, someone to support them. We don't need to be fixed. You're actually perfectly fine as you are. You don't need to be fixed. And any solutions you are looking for are actually already inside you, but sometimes you just need the support to allow that to come out. One of the reasons why I created the Marga Woman Project and the Marga Woman community is to bring circles of women together to actually do this. Journaling is also a great way to clear some of the thoughts that are going on in your head on a daily basis. The meditation, yoga also helps with depression or anxiety. There's lots of research around exercise, reducing depression. Massage can also help. Spending time in nature and grounding yourself and connecting yourself back to nature and to yourself will always make you feel better. And slow breathing exercise also helps. So really focusing on the breath, and that kind of calms you down and calms down the stress response. Also, herbs such as St. John's wort. It's one of the best herbs for mild depression and anxiety, and it's actually been shown in several research trials to be more effective than antidepressants in cases with mild depression and anxiety. Not quite as effective in severe cases, but it's good if it's just mild. Other great herbs that you can look at are ashwagandha, skullcap, passion flower, oats, lavender, Siberian ginseng, licorice, Panax ginseng, dong quai, peony, all great herbs. And you will probably find some teas out there that have got some of those herbs in it, which are really great to just help you. But I would highly recommend that you visit a naturopath or a qualified herbalist to get a specific remedy that suits your situation if you are experiencing depression, anxiety. And if you're not sure where to go, let me know, and I will. I'll refer you to one of the naturopaths that work with me, or one that I know close to you if you want to see someone in your neighbourhood. Now, nutrients that also help. Magnesium is fantastic. Unfortunately, many of us are deficient in magnesium because it's one of the nutrients that we use up a lot when we're stressed. Calcium also. Vitamin C we use lots of when we're stressed as well. Your essential fatty acids, which are your fish oils, they also help. Evening primrose oil, and some of the B vitamins, and specifically B6 and B5, also great for this nervous system and stress response. And on a dietary point of view, it's all about eating a clean diet full with good levels of proteins, essential fats, healthy fats, lots of veggies, and avoiding the obvious. And that's avoiding alcohol, because it'll actually make it worse, your processed foods and your sugars. So there's lots of things you can be doing to help managing some of the symptoms of menopause. But as I've mentioned in a couple of videos, the symptoms are not necessarily symptoms of menopause. They're quite often symptoms of high levels of stress and symptoms of the way that we live our lives. But they become more acute when we have the hormonal changes going on as well. But there's so many things that you could be doing that can actually help you, so that you actually don't have to be impacted by all of these symptoms. So if you're stuck and you're not too sure what to do, please get in contact and we can have a chat about the best way for you to deal with the journey that you're on as you're coming through menopause and perimenopause stage of life. So that's it from me. I'll be back in another video shortly. Bye for now.